Hi, good morning, everyone. Hope I'm audible and all of you are able to see me. Okay, all right, so let's get started. A very warm welcome. Good morning to all of you. Um, this is Sanket. I'm a part of campus team from Persistent, and we are back again with our campus and PEEP, as we call it, which we say persistent engagement for enhanced partnership with Career Recropedia. Today's topic is a little interesting, and I think it is of much of interest for a lot of us. Okay, I'm going to tell you what exactly it is, and it's not a surprise because I'm sure you would have got our email for the same. So today's topic is the webinar number 6, which is under the banner of TechFlix, that is for Persistent Campus Team, and the topic is Salesforce. The future is here. Before I move on to our speaker, let me probably set some ground rules. We are going to start it at the right time, and we plan to end it at the right moment. At the same time, we would always request you to, in case if you have any questions, please start putting it in the question answer session. We are expecting a huge population on this platform, so it may be a case that there could be some internet issues at your end. So we really want you to hang on. Okay, don't get reserved, don't start calling people frantically. It'll take its own sweet time, but it will resolve in the right moment. Right? Okay, so today's topic again, as I said, it's Salesforce. The future is here. That's what we're going to talk about. And a campus initiative that we have today is 26th of February, and we are at 11 a.m. Indian Standard Time. So our speaker tonight or today, sorry, is Shailesh Wadhankar. Now, I'm going to just talk a little bit about what Shailesh has been doing all over these years. So Shailesh is a known personality in Persistent, has been working for a while. He has over 23 years of experience in software delivery and leadership experience. I'm not going to read everything for all of that, but I'm going to read very specific things. He has been leading a large global programs. He has been a part of pre-sales, domain team, solution developing. Currently, I'd like to iterate that he's a delivery head for the Salesforce at Persistent, and is one of the leading groups in Persistent. He's somebody who is hiring the most number of people across the board in Persistent, and I think that's something which is a plus for all of us. On the side note, he loves to spend time with his family and friends. Specifically, he's got a lot of friends here. Even in office, he's got his personal friends, so which I think everyone should learn from. He loves to play with his kids, specifically table tennis and badminton. He loves to innovate, ideate, and I've worked with Shailesh for a while, and I've experienced that whenever we have a discussion, his point is always that how can we do this better? How can we make this better? So every time we meet, there is something new that I get to learn. One of the mantras that Shailesh believes in that the will to success is important. However, what's more important is the will to prepare. So by this, I would now hand over to Shailesh. A very warm welcome, Shailesh. Thank you so much for your time today. I know you've been back to back busy on calls with clients and customers, but thanks that you're giving time to a lot of student fraternities. A lot of them are keen to hear you out. So I'm going to just stop my presentation for now, and I'm going to request Shailesh to start his. Yeah, over to you, Shailesh.
Perfect. So good morning, everyone. I'm Shailesh Wadhankar, and I hope my screen is visible. Okay, perfect, awesome. So pretty excited to speak to you, share my experience in terms of this unique topic called Salesforce. Future is here. I have personally spent almost 6 years out of my 23 years in this on this platform or in this ecosystem, and something which is very close to my heart. So let's go through it. I will share some of my experiences in terms of how I look at Salesforce as a platform and how it can be one of the great career option for most of us. Okay, so let's start from here. Software is becoming every business. Mark Anderson said that software is eating the world. And rather, I want to change this a little bit and say that, it's not software is eating the world, but actually software has eaten the world. And why I say that, if you look at a car, which you drive, the home which you have, the cities, if you look at smart cities, the banks, healthcare, wearables, and you just think of anything, your refrigerators, your light bulbs, everything, there is not a single component which creates multiple experiences in your life where there is no software. And therefore what I feel is, everything software is driving it, and therefore software has eaten the world. Okay, so moving on. And when we say that software has become every business, look at it. There is now a new term in dictionary called Uberization. And we all know that Uber is a company which doesn't own a car, doesn't own a driver, but then they're running completely have transformed the renting, car renting or travel from one point to another, absolutely just based on the power of software. Think about Rupee, the type of the challenge it has thrown to all the biggies which had monopolized this market. I think something which we as Indians should be proud about. Okay, so these are the threats to the digital disruption, and they're setting up that benchmark. If you think about a couple of examples, like say for example Kodak, I don't know how many of you are aware about it, but Kodak was the company which actually invented digital cameras. Now, and after doing that, also for what they went ahead with, continuously investing and focusing on their film market, and they are nowhere. So what is also equally important is when this transformation is happening, you have to be absolutely alert and sense that how things are shaping up. I was just attending one session yesterday, and one of the great mind was sharing one aspect in which I absolutely agree with him, was that you can't think about a job which you will be doing 5 years or 10 years from now. And it's very true. If you ask me what I'm doing today, if you look at if I look at myself, then 20 years before, the way I was looking at my entire career, I never thought that potentially I will be actually doing what currently I'm doing. And think about the jobs. Many of you, I know there are in audience, we have people who have been mentoring students, people who have spent sizable amount of time, professors, TPOs. Think about 20 years before, 15 years before. Have you ever thought about there will be jobs like data scientists, those type of things? So I think the entire flavor is going to change. And then let's look at, say for example, banking experience. I will just give you one example. Okay, and it was something like 12 to 13 years before which I experienced, and that was, I just opened up my laptop, I connected through Wi-Fi, morning 9 a.m. Went on to a share market portal, bought some shares and closed the transaction. And my dad was absolutely surprised. He's not that far away from technology, but then 12 years before, he felt that without even a charger or any connection to your machine, you are able to buy and sell something and your money has been transferred. Whereas he's habitual of standing in a queue in the banks and waiting for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. The entire bank has changed your experience in terms of how you do your transactions. And same thing is with Netflix or all these things. The content. Everything is on OTT. The way things are happening for currently people, all the students who are starting their career now, for them it might be obvious. But look at people like us who have seen this industry for many years. I think that for us it is a big transformation. Let's look at the cycle times. Industry revolution happened 1900s, say for example 1870s, 1880s to 1900 to 1950. So it took almost 60 years for industries to set up, pick up raw material, try to make some productive goods out of it, and everything was manual. Next 25 years, I would say a span of, say for example 1940s, 1950s to 1960s, 70s. This was the time when a lot of machining came in, a lot of I would say a lot of automation happened, and it took almost 25 years to stabilize the industry and have a lot of automation as far as manufacturing processes were concerned. And this time, somewhere in the labs, or this was the phase when there was competing machine which was coming in, but it was private to only big, banks, say for example, or some of the enterprises, or it was only in labs. Then the biggest transformation happened, after 1970, 75, or rather 1980 onwards, when, the computing machine started coming at your home. And it directly impacted your quality of life. And that things, if you look, just compare that, even getting a, say for example, PC in 1990 was like a 3 months job, say for example, a server grade machine. Because we had to import, there were lots of issues. Now everything has changed, right? So it took almost 15 years for that. If you look at 1990 to 2000, 2010, pretty much what we have seen is, or rather, yeah, 1990 to 2010, what we have seen is there were businesses who were saying that we want to adapt to software, we want to make our business efficient. So business was telling you that how you want to, what type of software I want. That's where when I started my career, and we started building up for them. But now the things have changed. Now what we do, or rather what customers are expecting us or business are expecting us to do, is we tell them how to do a different business differently using technology. So that's a mindset change. Okay, so now this is the entire, I wanted to create, visualize the entire process in terms of how the cycle time is reducing. If you look at 60, 25, 15, 10 and 5, and I'm telling you now, let's look at technology, something which I'm pretty sure each and every one of you is passionate about. Okay, and if you look at that, then you will see that, like say for example, many of my friends started their career in Java and they have been still doing Java. Okay, and obviously now they have changed, with lot of cloud adoption coming in, Google Cloud, Amazon Cloud, a lot of things have happened. But they made their first 15 years or 18 years or 20 years in their career just working on Java, advanced Java, and those type of stuff, or similarly other technology stack. But for you, the things are going to be substantially different. Every 15 to 12 to 18 months, you are supposed to work on new set of technologies, and because the cycle time is reducing, you will have to see that how you learn and adapt to all these things. So that's very, very important. And this is something which I would say that, I have personally seen this change when I started my career in 1997, when, we are expected to do, deliver a smart software solution as per business needs. So we used to go to business, ask them what you need. They used to tell this is what I need, and we used to build, and we carried a sense of pride in that. But now that is no more. You can't work that way. If you do it that way, you will not be able to do your business, or you will not be able to make your customers happy. What customers are looking for is they expect you to be absolutely technology expert, and then the real skills lies in, do I understand their business well, and then it is implicit that you know technology, use all set of technology spectrum which you are aware about, and tell me a best way to run my business. So that's a shift which has happened, and something which I want each one of you to think about it, because this will be a foundation for new jobs which are going to, or rather this has already become a foundation for all the new set of opportunities which everyone will have at your doorsteps. And therefore, with reduced cycle time and this change in mindset, you will have to always adapt and learn. Okay, everything is now plug and play. And now we'll come to our main topic. I wanted to set this context so that you understand how there is a technology shift, and how the entire foundation of technology is changing as far as software development is concerned. Okay, every customer looks is very sensitive about competition. If there is an idea, people are expecting that if I'm thinking about an idea, by evening it should be into production, because if I don't do that, there is somebody else who is going to do that. And I will give one more example about it. Now, around 2000, if somebody would have asked me that can you create a small program which does a face recognition for you, and I would have said that okay, let me think about it. Okay, I will get back to you in maybe another 3 months or 4 months. Okay, now this is something laughable, right? Because if the same question is asked now, what would be the answer? Somebody would say that okay, I can give it back in probably next 3 to 4 hours. So think about it. From 3 to 4 months, it has come to 3 to 4 hours, right? So there is such, and why that has happened? It has happened primarily because of the technology stack which is available or disposable to you, which you can use. So now you don't have to do a lot of hard work. It's there. So therefore there is. So what I want to give you a message is, more and more you will see it is plug and play. You have multiple facets which are available on a technology stack. You plug them and then play it and drive your customers in terms of telling them that this is how you should do your business, and you will see that and that is where the needle is shifting now. Okay, so this is what I something I firmly believe in. When companies adopt technology, they do old things in a new way, and I think that's a past now. Okay, but when companies internalize technology, they find disruptive ways to do new things, and that is where we'll come to our topic. And this is something what I feel that for most of us, and obviously we'll be talking about Salesforce now, but then this is where our sizable future lies in, and why Salesforce. And what is Salesforce? Let's look at it. This is a company we started in 1999. It's primarily a cloud platform. They did a very disruptive marketing into the world, saying that it's a software company with no software. Now that was something unimaginable in 1999, 2003, 2004, when they were sort of, in first 5-6 years, they were, setting up their foundation. and it was very hard to believe for new joiners like me that without software how can you do it. Okay, but then that is the time when that concept of platform started emerging. They started with something called a CRM, which is customer relationship management, but it is when you call it a platform, it is no more just a CRM company now. Obviously it's a cloud multi-tenant. It actually suits into our current demand across the businesses, which is like pay per use, and it's a low code cloud platform. Now you everyone would have a perspective about if it is low code, no code, do I really want to get into it? But the point is, again, look at what I just set you the flow or the thought process. You will always have to see that what are the things which are available. Rather than taking a pride in terms of building something very complex, you should have all this plug and play architecture available to you. Build onto it and build something more meaningful for customer. And therefore platforms like low code platform which are on cloud or no code platforms are actually taking up a pretty much a pace. Now look at how Salesforce is. This depicts a pretty much a in last 5 to 6 years how their market share has happened. If you see worldwide, and look at rest of the competition, they're like surging ahead, and there is a reason for why they're picking up this sizable market share, and I will tell you that reason also. Even look at this, for in last 8 to 9 years, how this company has moved across. Salesforce has been an organization which has been into top 3 most innovative companies for last 7 to 8 years. And primarily the reason has been they started with something called like just a CRM. And now we'll get into more details in terms of what this platform is all about. Okay, what I wanted to share with this screen with you was primarily from 2.3 billion. If there is an organization which is going up to coming to a 10 times of their revenue. Look at the roadmap which they have. Typically on these platforms there has to be sizable adoption. You have a sizable amount of developer community. You have sizable amount of big top Fortune 100, Fortune 50 companies, everyone adopting into Salesforce to drive their businesses. So there is humongous amount of opportunities for almost everyone on this platform. Now, what is this? Let's double click on Salesforce and what is this all about? So, and here I would like to give one more analogy. Okay, let's look at a human. What is one of the primary characteristic of humans? Don't get me wrong, but one of the basic intrinsic property for a human being is consume, right? We consume data, we consume food, we consume luxury, whatever you do, you basically consume it, right? You get those experiences, you strive for getting greater experiences. So everything, as a human being, you need things, right? And if there is some an entity called human being which needs something, which means that there has to be somebody who is selling something to them, right? Therefore selling process becomes very, very important. Now whether it is like, say for example, consumer durables like refrigerators, if houses, say for example, cars, you name it, and human being needs that. So there has to be a sales process. Now if you want to sell something, once you have sold, what you do? Okay, what you do is you have to service that, right? Whatever you have sold it, you will have to service it. So there is a service angle to around a human being, right? When you want to sell something and do a service, and if you want to run a business for doing that, then you need a marketing also, because you will market, you will target those customers, prospects rather, turn them into customers, sell them, and then service them. And while you are doing it, you need to also keep your books, right? You have to manage your commerce. So around a human being, whatever you typically need is something which is on Salesforce. So what Salesforce has? It has something called a Sales Cloud, which helps you in terms of creating opportunities, talking about how you can say, for example, and it's not only about doing a business. Even Salesforce is absolutely rather a best fit as far as healthcare industry is concerned, and how it is relevant I will tell you in subsequent slides. Okay, so you have something called a sales process of Sales Cloud, you have something called a Service Cloud, you have something called a Marketing Cloud, and you have something called as Commerce Cloud. So you have all the gamuts or the spectrum of what typically any business would need. Okay, and if you look at these numbers, this is something how Salesforce, so look at Salesforce like this, that any CIO of any organization or any business, he can build up his entire vision on this platform. Okay. And that's something, is the power of this platform. So look at it, it can help you in terms of increasing your revenue by 25%. So I will give you one example as far as our India market is concerned, India geo is concerned. Okay. And I'm pretty sure why I'm picking up this example, because you all would have definitely experienced it. Okay. And this is all about lending, right? The retail lending part which happens. So for example, I won't name all the customers, but if you go to buy a two-wheeler, there are 2-3 people who are sitting in saying that, okay, we can give you a loan, right? Those are 2-3 famous companies who would be always around. So that's more of a two-wheeler loan. If you go and buy a, say for example, electronic gadget, there will be another 2-3 people who will say that we'll give you a loan. That is all about consumer durables. There is loan against property. There is for loan against shares. There are multiple lending business which is happening for an individual. Now, most of it, more than 60-70% of all this lending happens on Salesforce in India. Okay. Basically, when this lending used to happen some 6-7 years before, getting a loan and delivering it to customer used to take something like 3 to 4 days. With Salesforce, you can do it in 3 to 4 minutes. Now look at somebody who is a lender and who wants to run this business. How much efficient we are making this entire lending process for them using this platform. Okay, and there are many examples of it. I just wanted to give you one so that you get a sense of what the power of a platform like this can be. Now let's get into details. I talked about sales cloud, service cloud. So just think about it. The way I just give you an example. If you want to buy say for example a movie ticket, the entire sales process in terms of selling that ticket can happen on a sales cloud. For example, after that, if you want to service something, or if you have bought a refrigerator, or if you have bought something and you want to do something, then you can actually do the entire servicing on this. So for example, a representative will come at your home. So that's something which you can track. He or she will attend, he will give you demos if the equipment is new, he can service your washing machines, everything. So all this, so what does this platform extends you? The platform gives you those building blocks already available, what you need for setting up a sales process or setting up a service process. Now, beyond that, what is your art? You have to learn a business, build up some complex integrations. So for example, if you are lending a money, you will have to do some complex integrations with, say, for example, Aadhaar, with PAN, with IT department, with a CIBIL score. There are a lot of applications like Hunter, Poseidon, which does credit checks, which will do fraud checks. So all this, if you can build that up by integrating this entire ecosystem to building, through RESTful APIs, and build up a processing that now something which, for example, you used to take 3 to 4 days. Now I can make it happen for you in 2 to 3 minutes. Just capture the data and you can deliver a loan for your customer. So it has building blocks. And then it needs strong technical acumen of an individual, and also equally important is business understanding, so that he or she can build up something meaningful for your customers. Okay. Now if I just go right side, after sales, service, and marketing, you have commerce, you have communities. Why communities are important? Say for example, if it's a car, who is somebody who is selling a car. I am taking many examples from India, because most of, or rather almost everyone, is participating from India, but there are many multiple examples across the globe. But let's pick up relevant examples so that you can understand this in a better way. Car dealerships, say for example, you have dealers. So dealers will be called as partners. So you need partner community, right? If you want to drive business using Salesforce for them, you will have customers. Say for example, you are selling something. You are selling something on a retail side. You have an e-commerce site, say for example. Then it's all B2C. So you need also customer portals, right? So customer can come in, log in, and do it. So there are communities which are like customer communities, partner communities. You can collaborate. It's a cloud platform. If you have a Java code, so you have Salesforce. Salesforce also has a lot of extensibility to this platform. You can write a Java code, run through something called as Heroku. You can run that engine, which we call it as a work module, and then that way you can also extend the power of non-Salesforce technologies along with this. Then you have something, Salesforce recently acquired something called as Mulesoft. It's all about integrations. So you can build an API layer on that, and then while this, so this pretty much covers the entire gamut of the business. Okay. Now the next thing is, you will still have some specific flavors, and flavors can be, say for example, industries. Now what can be those industries? Say for example, financial service segment, healthcare, automatives. So Salesforce has also built specific out of the box solutions for say for example wealth management. So if a representative will come to you and basically tell you that he can actually set up an entire wealth management plan for you for next 15 to 20 years, where to do investment. So to do that, building blocks are ready. Now you have to build up a great experience so that that representative can actually sell or rather his services in terms of managing your wealth in an efficient way, and that is where the skill lies, and that's how across all the industries. Okay, I don't know till this point probably I know we are into 20-25 minutes. If I would like to just quickly take a pause before we get into later part of this presentation, but Sanket, if you have any somebody has any posed any questions, I would be happy to take them up. Otherwise we can take it at the end of the session.
Sure. So just one question, I think Shailesh, people have, I have someone who's put that is, how does Salesforce work with Azure? That's the only question we have. So maybe if you want to just take it right now, park it, and then we can take it at the end. If you have another questions to club it together, we can do it then. So
sure. So I can take it because we are talking about platform here. Okay. So I would say there are a lot of things which are happening on Azure. However, look at Salesforce as something in parallel. Okay, so Salesforce is already sitting up on an entire infrastructure of cloud. What Salesforce extends you beyond Azure is extensibility in terms of what I talked about. All these building blocks for sales process, for service process, for marketing process, and you can build up the entire set of applications. So it's a little bit beyond what Azure extends you. On Azure, say for example, and again I will give a very small example. Okay, if you want to build up say what I can say for an approval process for leave management. Let's take a very basic example. Okay, so now for leave management, what you will have to do is you'll have to set up a set of people, that there is a requester, there is first level approval, there is a second level approval. So now if you are, for example, it's not a very finite or very specific example, but if you want to build similar type of application on Azure, say for example, and extend that to and make it multi-tenant, then you will have to set up those roles. You will have to do you have to write a code to set up those hierarchies. Now that is something which Salesforce already has. So you have to just configure and you can move ahead. So that's the difference. It has more extensibility and it has more building blocks as compared to Azure. Okay, so and this is what I wanted to highlight, and probably if I answered that question. If not, you please post in and I can further clarify you on that. So look at platform features. Pretty much everything which you get on cloud, whether it is scalability, maintainability, data security, you name it and you have it. Salesforce also has something called as mobile app. Salesforce One as a mobile app, which is pretty much behaves like what a native application, a native app on iOS or Android devices would do. Right now, obviously, you can do even native development, and that can also integrate at the backend with the Salesforce. So here it is, and potentially you may get little bit of more sense about the question which was around Azure also. So you have, at the bottom of it, you have something called as multi-tenant architecture. It sits on a cloud. You have extensibility. So the way these cloud platforms extend you, that you don't have to worry about infrastructure, and that is something called as infrastructure as a service, right? What is unique about Salesforce is it is more of a software as a service. So it doesn't have just an infra block. On infra block you have a data layer. So you don't have to worry much about data as a service. You have to just design the objects and just roll it off. It's very easy, quick, fast. So all the mundane work, I would say, by applying some intelligent logic and insight, the wisdom which you people have, once that is decided, it's just like click, 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 and you can deploy that. Okay. What is more important is now, so there is something called as data layer in between, wherein there are engines like Einstein, and we can talk about Einstein also. So it's like an AI/ML engine which is available on Salesforce. So it can give you a lot of insights. Nest-based actions type of outcomes. You can write your own models, AI models, and run them. You can pull out the data or the insight from it, and on that insight you can build up something which is more meaningful for your customers. Then you have something as an Lightning or App Exchange or Force.com or HeroClear. So Lightning is something where you can write. Initially, Lightning had a lot of internal. I would say what I can say is a specific language, but now Salesforce has extended it to you can write a JavaScript code and build up an UI and integrate that with Salesforce, and that is something has been really an excitement for all the developers. Okay, so it's a building block where you have infrastructure, database, You have multiple engines which are running, and then you have a flexibility to all, build up all these clouds on top of it, with whatever whatever building blocks Salesforce extends you to work on. I will give a very quick example on this, and then we'll move on. Okay, so look at as I said, Salesforce is pretty much relevant for even healthcare. So if you look at it, typically how a healthcare should be done by an organization, even by a nation, or even by an hospital. So providing a true care for an health of a human being has a broad level this distribution that 10% physical environment should be great. One should have a great social and economic factors. Everything should be healthy, happiness should be around. You should be monitoring your health behaviors, and beyond that, if there is obviously, because aging is by default, there will be some challenges, issues, and the typical specific clinical care is something which is should be 20% of the entire what I can say is the community which we are building. But how actually a spend happens? If you look at it, health behaviors and other part is hardly 12%. 88% of the money is spent in terms of medical services. And so what does typically, medical services, I would categorize that as a reactive thing to, which happens, right? You identify something and then react to it, and by providing medical care. And that is not a right approach to do it. So Salesforce helps you in terms of building up an ecosystem wherein, and this is very predominant in US market. Okay, and I am pretty much sure that we have India healthcare has to do a lot of catch up business, but obviously there are some really great things which are happening in India as well. But I think Salesforce can further accelerate it. So let me give an example of US market. Okay, so you can build up a cohort. We call it as a cohort set of patients whom you see are like diabetic, from A or diabetic B level patients. You can build a cohort of a few thousands of people. Then you can look at the categorization in terms of what they have. Then a care officer can actually build up a plan for them, reach out to them and say that you take care of all this. And then you can do a follow-up on that have you followed up all this routine in terms of whether it is diet, exercises, whatever it is. Okay, and post that, and obviously you can do a follow-ups, you can maintain it, you can track it. By doing this entire activity, what happens is you are reducing a risk of patient getting into a high risk zone of diabetes, because, and if you do that, there is a enormous amount of cost saving which happens, and which relates to the social economic factors and the health behavior, because that would help you in terms of reducing the people who are coming into hospitals, which is very costly, by the way, in US market, right? So if you can reduce that, that will further help have a great mindset, great culture. People will be more happy. The happiness index goes above as far as social economic factors are concerned, and you reduce the spend on healthcare, clinical care for the patient. Now, if you do this, and this is something which you can again do on Salesforce. Okay, so that is the impact which I just wanted to give you. Okay, now let's look at this. In terms of what excites us, correct? So, for example, if I ask this to pretty much, and this is what I typically do with all the, when I go for campus recruitments or when I'm speaking to students, IoT, say for example, Internet of Things, AI. I know most of you people do a lot of your, projects in this space. So these are some really exciting stuff. Let's look at. I'm pretty sure you guys are also exposed to something called as RPA, robotic process automation. Again, this is something wherein you build automate entire process. So, for example, if there is something which a particular bank or a hospital or for retail industry was doing in 3 to 4 days, you can bring it. You can automate everything. You can remove all the manual interventions and reduce the cycle time. And cycle time is very important, as I said earlier. Okay, machine learning, for example, blockchain, voiceovers, OCRs. These are now becoming a building block for building future solutions. Okay, and as I said, how these building blocks are going to transform the new set of jobs 3 years, 5 years down the line, I can guarantee that you can't imagine at this moment. So that is the big change which we are bringing in now. All that, and let's look at this aspect, and then I will tell you why I'm sharing this with you. Now let's go back to your academics, right? You are learning decision trees, pattern recognitions, web services, restful services, APIs, data structure, and you name it. This is something, and on the right hand side, say for example, algos, RPA, ML, IoT, and this is something which pretty much excites most of us, right? Now this is everything is related, because if you look at what I just showed you here, and then even your academics, everything is on Salesforce, and I will get into this now. Okay, and what is more important is platform is reducing a gap. Now whether it is fortunate or unfortunate, it's all the perspective, the way you look at it. But it is reducing sizable amount of gap in terms of people who are absolutely conversant about this aspect. They know. So all those people who are from computer science, IT, I think absolutely, you are already at a point from where you can actually start leveraging this platform and actually make a more meaningful impact, right? You can perform far better. But because there are building blocks, there are a lot of smart guys around who probably do not know a lot of technical in-depth which you have learned in last 3 to 4 years. But those are the guys who are like a smart, or the really some intelligent sharp minds. They will pick up things faster because there are building blocks which are available, and they will compete neck to neck and shoulder to shoulder with you guys. Okay, and now if you look at it, my perspective, this is absolutely positive. Platforms are helping in terms of anybody can actually come and start building up the softwares, and I think that is another one of the key factor by which how softwares are going to be developed in future. Now what you can do on Salesforce. So for example, if you enjoy for example, helping users to get most of the out of the technology, you can become a Salesforce administrator. If you're a nerd geek, you want to write some complex codes, you are not comfortable with inefficiencies, in terms of way things are happening. Absolutely, you have a great role in terms of being a Salesforce developer. If you want to solve problem, look at the big picture and help people, you can become a Salesforce technical architect. By the way, there is something called as the highest level of certification which is available, is called as a CTA in Salesforce ecosystem, and they're hardly, I would say, don't take up this number exactly, but hardly maybe 200, 300, 400 people, not more than 400 people across the globe. And these are the 400, people, and the ecosystem is far big. But then to reach to that point, you have to be really, really strong as far as technology is concerned. If you don't understand technology, you won't get a CTA certification. But once you get that, you become the industry leader, not only for Salesforce, for all the businesses, to see that how they can drive their businesses more efficiently. And then you can be a business analyst. There are a lot of consulting, for certifications which are available. You can be a marketing manager, sales. So if you look at it, it's not only technology now, right? Something which I am personally passionate about is like Salesforce developers and architects, and this is the team which works with me. But then if you have different interests also, if you want to be an analyst, there is really a great opportunity to get into that space as well. So the entire spectrum is open for almost everyone. I want to relate this with, and this is a depiction which I took a liberty to take it from our CEO. This is how it talks about planning your career in 40 years. Okay, and what I feel is somehow Salesforce being a 21-year-old company, and it's going to be there for probably next, for I don't know, multiple years. This century, probably next century. And why do I say that is because when this platform started, no. It started with CRM, but after that, slowly every, so if I look at a resume of a Salesforce developer in 2008-9, when Persistent actually started investing into this ecosystem, it has been more than 13 years now. So the resume, if I take the resume of 2008 for a Salesforce developer, and if I look at the resume of Salesforce developer in 2021, in last 13-14 years, if you look at both of them, you can't say that this is from the same technology stack, other than Salesforce has a word on that resume. Okay, absolutely everything is changing. So why this, Salesforce as a company is able to get more market share is because every 10 to 12 months you will see that there is something new coming on the platform. Be it AI, be it ML, be it JavaScript integration, be it Mulesoft. Every 6 to 12 months something new is coming, which means that if and this organization is going to keep on doing that. If they do it, they will stay not only for another 5 years, 10 years, but they will stay for long. Okay. So now if I relate that, first 10 years, and I will quickly brief you on it. The first 10 years of your career, you should be doing multiple things, whatever you feel, learn and build up just networks, be known to multiple guys, and first 10 years has to be invested into multiple things. And once you do that in the next subsequent phase, and that is what you can do on Salesforce, next subsequent 10 years you should focus on terms of picking up something very specifically on Salesforce, okay, and then establish your identity. So say for example as a as a CTA, or as a technology architect, or say for example as a senior business analyst in sales ecosystem or in service ecosystem. So you make a name for yourself by keeping a niche around you. And once you do that, then look at the entire bigger, get into next phase, which is into 20 to 30 years, probably where I am, where you focus about customer success. You start looking at a bigger picture. You start helping people in number one and number two, and build up their careers. That's something which you do, and you basically start putting up a pursuit for your corner office. Okay, and once you do that, there is a final lap where you start giving it back to the society. I think that's something which even me as a person had to learn, and preparing myself for that. But let's not focus on that. I think looking at the audience, let's focus on one. And I think learn more on this. And when I am talking about learning, let's come to this point. So there is something called as trailheads. Now, why there has been a sizable adoption on Salesforce developer community has been because you can build up an environment free of cost. And that is something which their competitors never did, and therefore probably they had a slow adoption in developer community. So you can build up your own sandbox first, okay, or a developer sandbox you call it, okay, at free, and you can try out multiple things. And then there is something called as Trailhead. You go to this site, salesforce.trailhead.com, and if you go there, it has everything. So all the roles which I showed you, right from developer to a business analyst to an administrator to an architect, it has all online content for you to consume and acquire this skill. So you don't have to go to anybody else to get this. You get it, you get yourself certified. I'm telling you, it's a hot cake in market. If you are certified on Salesforce, you have a fabulous job. People will run behind you to say that, okay, join us. And that's how the hot the technology is. And probably we are coming towards the end. What does Salesforce offers every student who are looking for job opportunities? And I won't say and something which excites me, there are many students who wants to do something of their own. I mean to say getting into a startup, building something more meaningful, building up some solutions which can solve bigger problems. For them also this is very, very important, okay, because using this type of platforms and accelerators, your ideation can be fast converted into actually a reality and real solution, and you should look out for this type of platforms. Okay, so you have better opportunities, better career. At this moment, market has a demand of 100 Salesforce developers, and probably in market we have only 60. Now that means that you will have better salaries, phenomenal better salaries, 2x of what probably a developer would get. Big companies are hiring. I think Sanket at the start said that yes, because of Salesforce probably, and that's good or bad, but I think it's a good part that I'm the guy who is absolutely going berserk in terms of hiring people, and we want people everywhere across the globe, be it in US, in Australia, in Europe, in India, everywhere. Okay, so it has a great opportunity, and I would like to sort of give you a quick glimpse. Pretty much I given you context in terms of what everybody's thought process should be, where technology is shifting, what is all this Salesforce all about, how it is relevant for you in terms of your careers. So let's look at a quick small demo in terms of whatever I just told you. Probably that's the summary, and then we'll sort of take a pause and go for the questions.
Business.
Oh, it's not coming up. I think you'll have to change your screen and share it again. Yes.
Business is changing fast. In this digital age, everyone and everything is connected, transforming the way we interact with our customers. Salesforce makes easy-to-use, cloud-based business applications that help you stay connected to your customers, prospects, partners, and more. It's the world's #1 CRM platform, enabling businesses to sell, service, and market like never before. And it's the customer success platform, helping you to connect to your customers in a whole new way. With Sales Cloud, you'll always have the information you need to close deals, collaborate and sell as a team, manage contacts and track opportunities, from first contact to final handshake. Service Cloud allows you to deliver a world-class customer service experience. Track customer activity across every channel, from online to on the line. Increase agent productivity and resolve issues fast to keep customers truly satisfied. With Marketing Cloud, you can create personalized one-to-one customer journeys and powerful multi-channel marketing campaigns that generate leads and drive sales. And with Community Cloud, you can build vibrant, engaging communities that help customers, partners, and employees help themselves and each other. Make quicker, smarter decisions with Analytics Cloud. Turn big data into a big advantage by uncovering new insights and taking action instantly from any device. With App Cloud, you can build modern employee and customer-facing apps that engage and excite, all within a secure, trusted, and instantly mobile environment. And now with IoT Cloud, you can connect all your data from the Internet of Things to the rest of Salesforce for better insights and real-time customer actions. And because Salesforce is cloud-based, all your information is up to date, in real time, and available wherever you are. So you can even run your entire business from your phone. This is the world's leading enterprise cloud ecosystem. This is the customer success platform. This is Salesforce.
So I would just say that, blaze your trail and join the Ohana community, the way we call it in Salesforce ecosystem. So I think that was it from my side. Thanks for listening to me patiently. And if there are any questions, Ankit, we can take up.
Right. So I think thank you, Shailesh. I think it was a very wonderful session, and now I think I need to also try and speak to my boss to see if I can apply for Salesforce. All right, so we're getting a lot of questions, Shailesh. I'm going to read them one by one, and probably we can take them as they come. So one of the very prominent questions, which everyone would want to know, and this is Mr. Anonymous. He or she says that how can I get employable with Salesforce? How do I learn it? And just to add on to a question along with that, and how soon can I learn it?
Okay, so I think partly I have addressed that point. Go to Trailheads. If you are asking me how soon, it's a matter of just 1 month or 2 months. I would recommend after going through those badges, and it's a beautiful thing which is available on Trailhead. After that, go for the certification. If you do certification, you are just employable. I'm telling you. Come to us. We'll just hire you.
Okay. All right. There is some question which says, does Salesforce provide customer identity resolution? Is there a way to implement CIR without any software, without using any software?
So partly I would say, we can dwell into it a little bit more, but it definitely has some aspects of it, in terms of, and I think the question was about customer identification, yes, right? Yes. Okay, so it does have to certain levels, if and if your question is more in terms of, say, for example, if we are integrating with Facebook, if we are integrating with Twitter, how can you identify those users, personification of those? So those things to certain degree are available on the platform, and rest then obviously you have an extensibility wherein you can write your own piece of code to make it more meaningful. I don't know if that addresses your question completely, but that's what we have on Salesforce as of now.
There is Partha Sarthi. I think he's the first one who's asked you the question for Azure. He says, sir, which language is most important to work with Salesforce except Java and JavaScript?
So I think Java and JavaScript is a good enough thing, see, Partha Sarthi, you should focus on one aspect, okay, and that is a specific language is a passe now. Okay, today probably there is JavaScript and Java relevant languages which are used on platforms like Salesforce, but these things will keep on changing. Okay, but then if you are conversant with Java, I think that's a very good foundation for you to come on Salesforce.
Okay. All right. So the next question is, which skill is more important for developing in Salesforce, business understanding or software knowledge?
Both, and I think I covered that. It's both. You need software knowledge. However, equally important is business understanding, and that is something which obviously employers like us will give you more experience and you will learn. But then that is the important skill. As I told you when I started my career, probably the later part was not important. And still I was a good performer. But now, if you want to be a really good performer and make an impact, then you need both the skills.
The next question says, some anonymous, I think there are a lot of anonymous people that we have. It's he or she says, how can we implement cloud computing in e-commerce, maintaining data security? I think, of course, with Salesforce.
So I think it's a very broad level question. So if you want to build up something from scratch, you can just build it up on, and I would relate that to the first question. You can just go on Azure and build everything from scratch. Okay. However, the abstraction layer or the beauty of this platform is you already have some building blocks which are available. And on that, you should be building up a lot of things. Okay, so cloud computing is something you can, to certain level, if it's very engineering specific question, then to certain level you have to leave that to platform to take care of. Your focus has to be in terms of available building blocks, how I can build some great design patterns onto it, and build up rightful code architecture so that you can deliver a great business value to it. So partly, you may have to leave away with some complex stuff, and you will have to build up a layer of complex stuff on above it to deliver something to customers. So you may not exactly in true sense do cloud computing on Salesforce, because that's something platform takes care of.
Okay. All right. I think since you've mentioned, Shailesh, that regarding the salary aspect, that it's going to be 2x, the questions have increased. Okay, let me put that out for you. It says, so is there any shortfall of people having knowledge about Salesforce? So what typically somebody's trying to ask is, basic awareness about Salesforce, is that very less across?
So developer adoption has happened sizably, but then the demand has been increasing manifold, and therefore, and that's why Salesforce came out with this trailhead. So if you ask me today, yes, there is more demand, and there are less amount of people at this moment who are coming onto a platform. So that difference is there. So we do have the situation as of today now. I think slowly, steadily, we'll come to a point potentially wherein this we can bridge this gap. But what is more important, you also talked about salary aspect, right? And this is something which I tell everyone. You focus on so the sort of thought process and the content which I shared with you. I asked this question to many freshers, comes out of college, that what is that you would like to do? A lot of people say that I want to learn, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to be the best guy, best girl, whatever, all that stuff. But nobody says that I want to make my employer successful and my customer successful. You focus on that. If you focus on it, and for that, obviously, you will have to be the best developer, best architect, and obviously, and then the salary aspect is a byproduct of it. If you actually have a right goal, you will be able to, even you can go beyond 2x. That's not a problem.
Something technical. It says, which CRM is better, Salesforce or Zoho?
I don't know if this is a question which is coming from a Zoho person or a Salesforce person or somebody who is actually wants to compare that. See, they both are public companies, so I don't want to have my personal bias onto it. I will generally tell you, both are CRMs, both addresses the problems at this moment. Potentially, I would say that Zoho, helps or contributes, or the segment target, the market segment they're targeting is like small companies, whereas Salesforce has been like a world leader. And that this is all based on data. I will not be opinionated on this, But then if you look at the entire world, market share data, Salesforce is like into all Fortune 50, Fortune 100, for Fortune 1000, for Fortune 5000 companies. So they have a bigger market share because they have more extensibility in terms of, and the scale in terms of what they can offer. Zoho is also doing wonderful job as far as their market segment is concerned. So no direct opinion on what is better, and they have their so everybody should apply their wisdom to see what's happening. But my personal point is probably they are targeting different market segments.
Okay. All right. So the next one says, is data science an important tool for Salesforce?
Yes. Answer is yes. And why? I will tell you that as well. Salesforce has a build, for out of the box build up model called, or rather the utility called Einstein. And through Einstein, basically what you do is you can initially there were only some inbuilt AI models which it had, but now you can write your own models. Pick up the data, write your own models, and bring out an insight out of it. And we are at this moment actually into hiring some people from statisticians, people who have done their engineering in data science, and help and training them on Einstein so that they can actually do a lot of AI and ML work on this platform.
All right. The next one says, which track of Salesforce is most suitable for fresher students? Whether badges can lead us to an interview even if we have not given any certification exam of Salesforce?
I think this is a very practical question. I would say answer is yes. If you are smart enough without certification, if you can crack it by if you have that dedication and learn everything through badges, without certification you want to go for it, you can definitely do it. And just believe in you, and if you feel you are capable enough to do it, you can do it. People will definitely pick you up. But certification just gives you an added advantage that there is somebody who is also nodding their head saying that okay, this person knows up to certain degree of level.
All right, the next one is from Sushant Verma, and he's actually coming up saying that I'm 30 years old, BTech in mechanical and into teaching profession. I'm looking for a career change. Can I get into Salesforce?
Answer is yes. If you have a passion to do that, answer is yes. There are a lot of large communities in US where people are, say, for example, and let's not look at just the profession, but people who are, say, for example, lab assistants, truck drivers, somebody is a veteran. We have example of a veteran, somebody with 52 years actually getting onto platform and learning Salesforce and contributing. So there are multiple roles you can do it. Only thing is when you are shifting so sizably from a teaching profession to a development profession, you will have to see that you will have to be open that you are working shoulder to shoulder with people probably who are like initially in your start of your career who are like 10 years younger than you, but eventually with your capability you can just do whatever is sky is the limit.
Okay, all right. So the next one says how Salesforce can manage customer requirements in terms of documentation.
So I don't know what exactly you want to ask. However, I would say that customer requirements in terms of documentation, I think maybe if you can elaborate this in the Q&A box, please do that. But my answer would be that it has a feature. You can if you are talking about documentation, sharing documents, you have something solution called as a Quip through which all that can happen. But if your question is something different, then I would like to understand more details out of it.
Okay. The next one says, in Salesforce, which technology should we learn, or should I learn, which does not require coding or development part?
Can you come again on that question?
So what typically they are trying to say, what technology should I learn which does not have a requirement of learning the coding and developing part?
So go through these trailheads. My point is, if you are asking this question specifically about, because without learning technology you can't work on technology space, right? But go through the trailheads. If you want to do not do much of a technical work, then there are certifications or the badges available which are specifically about Sales Cloud consultant or a Service Cloud consultant or Einstein consultant. But in Einstein you need to know a lot of data science part. But then these are the consultant certifications wherein potentially you will not be able, you may not have to do a lot of coding. Obviously, you'll have to do some amount of configuration and everything, which any a common man can do. So I think that's the roadmap for you if you want to get onto that path. But for the rest, I think you need to know at least, as I previously said, at least Java or some base, so that because you will have to finally code, right? But then there are equally careers for people who don't want to code.
Okay. All right. So I think the questions are still coming, but we are 2 minutes away from closing our session. So I think I'm going to take one last question here, Shailesh, and then probably we can close it, and then we can also request if someone has any other questions, they can reach out to you or any one of us. Okay, so the question is, most of the questions are related to how can I learn, how can I start. Okay, there was one thing which I just got to saw. So they were asking, the question is typically which says, does Salesforce also provide services across the industries, meaning insurance sector, stock market, banking? I think that is what they're trying to understand the company.
Yes. Answer is yes. So they have industry specific solutions for something called as financial service cloud, something called as health cloud, something called as they do have industry specific solutions wherein it's specifically catering to that industry. So we do have multiple those solutions on Salesforce, and it caters to across all industry. We work for retail, we work for banks, we work for healthcare industries, we work for device making companies, we work for life sciences companies, we work for pharmaceuticals using Salesforce.
Okay, thanks, Shailesh. I think we are almost on time, and it is always a good practice to start on time and to end on time. We respect everyone's time here. I would again want to thank you for your time, for being available for all the students, fraternity here, along with the TPOs and the faculties who are a part of this. And we've got a lot of interesting questions as well. But if you want to learn more and if you want to understand, you can reach out to us. We are a campus team. You can reach out. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Insta, LinkedIn. And till then, I would request you to watch this out space for more. We're coming back next month with another topic and another speaker. Till then, I would want you to take care of yourself and stay safe and take care of your families as well. Till then, thank you so much. You have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye. See you. Thanks, everyone.